Hi there. My name's John Cattie. I'm the managing partner of the law firm of Cattie Gonzalez. And today we're going to be talking about Medicare Secondary Payer in FELA cases. Before I begin, I want to thank Lawline for the opportunity to present this content today. For those of you joining and watching this, you know that Lawline's a leading provider of COE programming online. And there's a lot of different courses out there that have been taped in the Lawline library regarding Medicare Secondary Payer and lien resolution and other related topics. So I appreciate the opportunity to provide my thoughts about Medicare Secondary Payer in FELA cases. So we are going to talk for 60 minutes here about how the Medicare Secondary Payer Act applies to cases under the Federal Employers Liability Act, or FELA for short. And our agenda will look like the following. So we'll start with a high-level introduction to Medicare Secondary Payer. You may or may not have experience with this federal statute. You may or may not have represented Medicare beneficiaries in a FELA case before. You may or may not have defended a FELA claim involving a Medicare beneficiary. So we want to start with a broad introduction to the Medicare Secondary Payer program, followed by a historical background of the Medicare Secondary Payer Act itself, how it's developed, and where it sits here in the beginning of 2026. From there, we will cover in turn the three essential components of MSP law, being conditional payment reimbursement for past medical expenses from date of injury or loss through date of settlement, judgment, or award, mandatory insurer reporting that's done by the railroad employer in these circumstances, and then future medicals and the subject of how Medicare set-asides may apply to a FELA settlement in order to protect the injured railroad workers' access post-settlement to Medicare benefits. We'll be talking through a variety of statutes, regulations, and pieces of administrative guidance from the federal government during our time today. And at the end, I will provide you with my contact information in the event you have any questions at the end of this presentation. So with no further ado, let's jump into an introduction to Medicare Secondary Payer. And in order to get to Medicare being a secondary payer, we have to understand what Medicare is. A lot of folks confuse Medicare and Medicaid.